Hello, and welcome to a special episode of the Crescent Shroud. We will be focusing on the party's bard, Poe. Sixfingers, which is that is that a care to explain that real quick?
Uh, it is, when someone calls you something when you're a child and you don't like it, but eventually you learn that in order to defy them, you can own it
Mm-hmm.
as a way of demonstrating that it doesn't bother you.
Yep.
Also, he has six fingers in each hand, so there's that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Uh
So it's not
yeah.
inaccurate, but it's not like he's like, "Hey guys, six fingers."
Mm-hmm.
It's more like that was something that others might have called him out on an exercise of othering, and so he decided to stick it to them by owning it. Although I don't think that he has ever used that around any members of the party.
He has not.
No,
No.
it's
Um
currently it's just letters on a character sheet.
yeah, exactly, which is why it's in quotation marks
Yes.
in this frame. Um Before we get into the episode, let's learn more about the person who's playing Poe. Where can we find you? What do you do?
Oh, right. There's that. I am Michael or Zero Daylight. You can find me there. There.
Mm-hmm.
um, on Twitter. That's zero with a zero instead of a O, Daylight. You can find me on twitch.tv/C plus content a couple of times a week, running a variety of TTRPGs.
That's an
And you can find
understatement.
me, yes, and you can find me uh, every Sunday over at the Justice TV program and the Lissa T channel as we dive into the second season of our long running 5e campaign. And you can find me every Wednesday here.
Okay. Cool. So
Yes.
let's start the episode and rewind time a little bit, as is apparently custom in these character focuses. Um, it's the morning of the 5th. You have 2 days or 2 nights until the auction takes place. Um, you woke up fairly early. You did your morning stretches, morning like how does Poe wake up?
Uh,
What's his like morning routine?
I would say creepily, uh, like doesn't like very rarely remembers dreams. So more just sort of like the eyes pop open and then sit there for a bit. If I'm in a lovely, comfortable bed, I will linger as long as I possibly can.
Okay.
If I'm not in a lovely, comfortable bed, I will immediately seek to make myself presentable.
Well, this is one such lovely, comfortable bed.
Yes.
That you are currently in the Lonely Thrush.
Yes.
Um, so it might be a couple hours you just enjoying your time in this very plush bed.
Yes. I'll even thumb through that boring old book to see if it can put me back to sleep, but it doesn't.
You mean Tiny Stabbins teaches feats, or the
It
other
was
one?
the other one.
Okay.
It's
Well,
like, blah, 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 be inspiring. Ugh, gross.
yeah.
I can do that with magic.
No, that is the Tiny
Oh,
Stabbins
oh,
teaches feats is the inspiring leader one.
oh, God. I have a really hard time getting past that title. I mean, it's
It's
not garbage, but
you
it
say
just
that.
seems like a lot. It's just a lot. But, it's more it's certainly uh it's a moment of peace away from these insane creatures that I have found myself associated with.
Yeah.
And it's a moment of luxury. And it's a moment when no one's expecting anything. I don't have to manage anything. I can just sit here and I can read and idly brush my hair. Because, got to keep it silky and shiny.
Mhm. This book is it's not your normal book. This might be the first time you've like actually looked through it.
Mm.
You probably saw the title on the spine, and the cover, and you just pocketed it for later. Um, it's mostly a picture book, and it's a self-proclaimed autobiography by a very charismatic orc named Tiny Stabbins. And like on each page there is like a quote or a truism, like tomorrow is not done yet, or work is no time for play. And that's the book.
Yes. I think I spend time with it precisely because every page is a new opportunity to scoff.
Yeah, it's a little humorous. The illustration is actually very well done for what seems like a joke book. Um, Apparently, this Tiny Stabbins actually believes what he's preaching.
Oh, so it's like Mr. Sincere's book of memes, basically.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome because it just fuels the rage within.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like, you wasted all of this paper to make this.
So some of
Hang
the
in there,
pictures are in
baby.
color.
Oh wow.
They use like colored inks and illustration on some of them. Specifically, like you turn to one page and it's like at the very bottom is "Walking on fire makes you strong."
What does that even mean? No, it makes your feet hot and ruins
it's
your
an orc
boots.
thing. Maybe you don't
Ugh.
know, but like it's
Good
a
grief.
very funny picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, anyone outside the room would hear Poe having a exasperated conversation with the book. Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's not grammatically accurate. What are you even trying to say? Over and over.
Yeah, but like he's a self-proclaimed master at everything, like a true entrepreneur type. That
Good
has
for him.
been generous enough to share his insight to the common man.
Well, that's it. I have to write my own book.
But scoff at it all you want, but if
The
you
bar is
pick up this one
this low.
and the next,
I know the mechanical benefit.
you still get the mechanical benefit, no matter how ridiculous it seems.
Yes. I mean, if he was able to use these techniques into convincing gullible people that he was master of all, then there's learning to be had from that. I don't have to respect it.
You gotta read between the lines a little bit, I guess. Learn the meta knowledge of the book. Like how did he market this?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Who's his agent?
And on the inside back cover, you own this is volume 1 of Becoming an Inspiring Leader. There's a list of other books, also written by Tiny Stabbins.
Yes, well, maybe one day when I'm old.
Okay. So like, you eventually decide to get out of bed. Maybe you needed to go to the bathroom or something.
And then I had to try on outfits for a good 30 minutes.
Of course.
Just, look at the light outside.
It's
It should be blue.
mostly sunny.
I need to go yellow.
There's a few clouds. It is also just starting to be fall, so maybe that plays into your calculations.
Maybe I'll go green today to remind people of things just past. So, yes, I'll pick out a nice little green ensemble.
Okay.
Makes my eyes pop.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's the important thing. Hmm. And then
yeah. And then you,
try to find something edible.
yeah. I mean, something edible. But most things are edible. Um, but you go
By
down.
which I mean something here that is delicious
Yeah, yeah.
and appropriate, but doesn't cost 20 gold a serving.
It's surprisingly cheap.
Huh.
Um, the,
Oh, that's right. We're on the friends and family discount.
you got the friends and family discount, and you kind of get the idea that most of the grifting comes from the room, uh, and like it still serves cheaper drinks and food. Um, it's part of the, oh, this costs how much? 3 copper? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Kind of whatever.
Wow.
So you get like a pretty nice meal.
Tea, scones, clotted cream, marmalade.
Yeah. That kind of stuff. You sit down at a table. There's a handful of people in here. There's still like light music being played. It seems to be a constant. Uh, it's a different performer this time. It's like got kind of like a drum harp thing.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. But yeah, you sit down there and you like, roll me a perception check.
All right. Oh, I have to do my perception from memory. Hold on a moment.
I think
I
it's
know
like
it's
plus
not.
6.
Oh, is it that high? I don't think it's that high.
Is it? Or am I thinking insight?
I don't think it breaks a 10. I can tell you precisely in a moment, but I'm fairly certain it breaks a 10 because I rolled a 7 on the die.
Yeah, that would be a total of 9.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not paying as much attention as one might expect.
Well, perhaps you are, but you're obvious about it.
Ah.
You're like you're not you're still your lower roll still gets you information, but the bartender notices. Andrus.
Yes.
That he noticed that you're trying to eavesdrop on conversations.
Well, not in a gauche way, just
Well,
kind of like people
no.
watching.
But his passive perception is 27.
Yeah.
So like, so once you're like done with your meal, and you like return the plates and whatever, he stops you. Says, "Surely you can do better than that."
Better than what?
Oh, information gathering. He
Oh, you thought I was trying to spy on you. Yeah, there's a difference between trying to amuse oneself in a quiet moment and actually attempting to gather useful information. Typically, useful information isn't conveyed early in the morning on a lovely sunny day while one is enjoying one's scones and clotted cream and tea.
everything is useful.
You've met people, right?
Oh yes, and I've
Most of them are deadly dull.
hmm, that is very true.
I mean, I'm sure whatever's going on between the fishmonger and his wife is extremely interesting to their circle of friends. I have no interest whatsoever, so why should I pay attention?
How could you use that as leverage?
Against a fishmonger?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to.
Why?
Um, because I don't care for fish.
Mm. Is that his sole purpose? Is there no other way you could exploit that?
I mean, I don't know, possibly, but it sounds like a lot of effort for a very low reward.
Mm.
Besides, I find the trick isn't in finding information, sneaking around. It's more convincing people that they want to tell you.
That is a useful skill.
Yes. And therefore, what would a fishmonger want to tell me?
Well, you can
The
learn.
price of fish and his Herodin wife, and I have zero interest in either.
I suppose. But you never know when information can come in handy.
I mean, that's true. But honestly, things just tend to fall into my lap.
What happens when they don't? Do you go out and take it? Or do you just wait? Go hungry?
No, I just
indulge me.
sort of do whatever springs to mind. And then things just sort of happen. Like, I didn't plan to be framed for some sort of crime that has, by the way, never been identified by the magistrate. They do seem to be somewhat incompetent. However, that momentary misfortune wound up in, well, owning a copper mine and finding out all sorts of interesting mysteries. And I mean, some other things that are maybe, well, a mixed bag. But it certainly hasn't been boring. I mean, how many gods have you spoken to in the past week?
He just looks at you.
I mean, not exactly gods. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ancient, ineffable beings. They just keep showing up.
I get the sense that you think highly of yourself. And that is fine.
I don't think about myself much at all, in fact. Why should I? I'm always there, whether I'm thinking about myself or not. Oh, you think that there's something that happens between something occurring up here and something coming out here. There isn't, though.
Well, that is
sort
also
of the
a
opposite of deep.
useful skill.
Yes. It's called glibness.
I'm familiar.
Some say it's a sign of psychopathy.
Even psychopathy is a tool. You just need to know how to use it.
Yes, as many of our leaders have found to their advantage.
That is true. But you are untrained.
I mean, you're right. I don't have a craft. I've never sought to take up a profession.
I don't mean woodworking.
Well, neither do I. Have you seen these hands? No. Nothing with blisters in it for me.
He regards you.
But why would I train? Like I said, things just seem to happen around me. I do encounter the most interesting things in people, and often information as well. But I would say you...
Do you wish to remain a passive participant in your life?
Since you put me in mind of thinking of myself, and I do a moment's introspection, there certainly have been times in my life when I've been much more active. When I was younger.
Let me ask a different question.
Yes.
Do you have a prey in mind?
Oh, well, I don't think of things that way.
However you may think of it.
Do I have
a target, a
objectives,
mark, an objective
objectives in life?
Yes. I thought you might. You are not content with things just falling in your lap.
Well, I do, as long as they keep as they have done, creating interesting opportunities to advance my objectives. Yes. And I also find that fate is interesting. I think that the common man, no offense, tends to view fate as some external force. And that when I say I just sort of sit here and wait for things to fall into my lap, I'm saying that I'm purely a passive actor, and then whatever fate throws my way, I just accept it and move on. I think fate is a partner. Fate listens. Fate can sometimes even provide if you know how to work it, which is so much better than toiling or
Oh,
plotting all the time.
I agree. But you are untrained.
Yes,
Would
that's
you
certainly
like?
true.
Would you? I see potential in you. Would you like to learn how to master that fate?
I mean, I suppose so. If you're telling me that I need to buy a book by Tiny Stabbins, I'm not in. I have one already, and it's horrible. I mean, I've heard that there was some sort of pyramid scheme selling all his books, but I'm not into it.
Yeah, I haven't heard that name in a while. Yeah, it's mostly rubbish.
Yeah, it is. It's super infuriating, yet somehow addictive.
Mm-hmm. That's how they get you.
Yes. Anyway,
Anyways,
but like so, let's see. Subtlety is tiresome. Tell me what you're asking.
very well. He looks
Also,
to.
how old are you?
That is rude.
I know.
I. He turns to a worker, a waitress or something. Says, "Watch the bar," and then he motions to you. Follow me.
Okay.
And then he goes on the opposite wall of the entrance to the Lonely Thrush. There's a staircase that goes up, and then there's a door, presumably leading to a basement. He unlocks that door, opens it, says, "Come on."
I suppose. I mean, it's not likely that you would murder me on your own premises. Or maybe this is where you murder everyone. I don't know. Whatever, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. You go down first, and then he locks the door behind you. Follows you downstairs, and it looks much different than the facade of the tavern on top. This has ancient stonework in the floor. There is a large round table in the very center of the room. There are weapons up against the wall. There's bookshelves. In
Oh,
payment
I like this.
for even letting you know about this,
Yes.
and answering your questions honestly,
Yes.
I will assist you in your copper mine investment.
Oh, that took a turn I wasn't expecting.
But there is a part two, and we will get to that. You asked my age.
Yes.
I will be 156 next month.
Well, you look spectacular.
I appreciate that. I've
How
known
about this?
personally 3 generations of our rulers.
I heard the last one not so.
Do not speak
Or was it
ill
the one before?
of Imran.
Was it the one before? I never really had a head for history.
the
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 bad one.
the adventurer, Arik
Oh,
the
I always thought he
first.
was. I always thought he was somewhat a romantic figure. Seems like a nice guy, from what
Mhm.
I've read.
Yeah. Mm,
But I mean, maybe not the best ruler, but
yeah. He was headstrong.
mm,
It got
drink
the
was
better of
important.
him.
Mm, often does.
Mm.
I'll
Which
let you
is
in on a little
why I
secret.
don't
Go
want
ahead.
your potential wasted.
Ah,
I
well, I
believe you need to
appreciate.
temper your glibness.
Possibly. Also, have you met my friends?
I
I
have.
mean, if you're going to prioritize individuals who need some tempering, I'm just saying. I mean,
Mm.
not so much Drak. He's overly tempered. But the rest of them, my goodness. But anyway.
They are blunt instruments. You have the potential to be a scalpel.
Hmm. I kind of like that. Sometimes you do have to cut out the bad
Mm.
for the rest to survive.
Indeed.
Well, thanks. In exchange for you being so forthcoming, I will tell you a little secret. I am also a bit older than I appear. Don't really know what
Very
that
well.
means. I just looked like I was 17 for like a decade for no reason. I think it's probably healthy living.
Hmm.
But anyway, I cherish the fact that I look like I have very little experience in the world. But I'm not disputing that I'm sure I have a lot to learn. But I'm also not new.
I did not think you were new,
Yes, well,
but
just wanted to clarify.
unrefined.
How very dare! Look at my cuffs. This lace cost a fortune.
Mm. As do mine.
Of course. I know you're quite wealthy. But anyway, I know what you mean.
I also know you studied at the academy.
Well, to be fair, I attended. There wasn't a lot of studying. Some things just sort of came to me and then the others didn't.
Mm-hmm. You may need to finish that education.
Oh, well, see, here's the thing. If you go on a sabbatical before you graduate, you don't have to go dig ditches for the kingdom or whatever it is that you're required to do. So,
Mm. That is not what I meant.
oh, okay. Good. Because again, manual labor. No.
The the form of arcane study they teach there is not for everyone.
Well, because it's dull.
You could say that.
Yes. I told Peter that just the other day, in fact.
I will not give you all the answers now, but I would like to help you further that education, that refinement,
Hmm.
hone your skills. I can be an ally.
Yes. And
And in exchange,
yes.
I want to keep tabs on you and your party.
Look, does this involve a file of blood?
No,
Good.
no,
I mean, not
no,
because that would, just because that would be,
no.
boring.
There are other ways of tracking you.
Well,
No,
there's all sorts of magic. Yes.
I I more intend to ensure that your group does not bring this kingdom any harm.
Wow.
And fostering your growth
Yes.
may provide a boon to this kingdom.
Hmm.
I do not
Just
see it as a bad thing.
yes, yes, yes. I'm very curious about the details. Hmm. So, does the name Fathomless mean anything to you?
It's an epithet, the enemy of the Dominion.
Right, right. Is it real, do you think?
Of course.
Okay,
Most
good.
things are real.
I mean, I suppose. So, it wouldn't surprise you to know that, like, somewhere not too far from here, there's, oh, I don't know, a goddess or a avatar of a goddess who has a ghost daughter who is fighting off a mist that actually turns out that it's the Fathomless that sucked up a bunch of completely innocent travelers. And then, in the course of correcting that issue and bringing several of them back from the bowels of the Fathomless, um, the goddess's wheel was sacrificed. The thing that she uses as her arcane, well, not arcane focus, the thing that she uses to channel her
Mm.
magic.
Mm.
I mean, this was last Tuesday.
Well, it
So,
is new to me.
okay.
But the names and the location you speak of are not new.
Okay. Well, you don't seem concerned. Good. I put it out there just as
Kayak
a
can
gesture.
take care of herself. She
Okay.
has for a very long time.
Yes. Well, not all things last.
No.
I was literally talking to her last Tuesday,
Mm.
so things aren't looking great.
Give her my regards if you speak to her again.
Sure. I mean, I didn't know you guys were like that, but that's fine. I thought she was my bestie, but
Mhm.
that's fine.
You mentioned the Fathomless.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, just because you were talking about threats to the kingdom, and it seems like a threat to, well, lots of things, including the kingdom. I was just trying to be, mm, well, frankly, I was trying to impress you with some of our adventures.
Mhm.
And not everyone just kind of wanders off on some sort of stupid mission for gold and then winds up meeting, a Solar and a goddess and a ancient evil barely held in check.
Which is why I would like to foster your growth.
Okay. Well, then I have done my job of making you feel better that your instincts are supported by facts.
They usually are.
Yes.
I mentioned a second part,
Yes. The whole keeping tabs on me thing.
not the second part.
Oh, that's part 1B. Got it.
Mhm. That was the reasoning
Okay,
behind
okay.
my interest.
Got it, got it. The
You said
second part is
an offer.
mm, I think Poe probably actually looks a little like because it's not a request, it's an offer.
Mm-hmm.
So Poe's expecting like a you want to go hang out with these people or you need XYZ, yeah, 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 tit for tat, blah blah blah. And then with offer, he's just like, oh, this is super uncomfortable.
If you pledge secrecy, I can further refine your skills. I can teach you spycraft, statecraft. You seem to be a ladder climber at the moment.
Oh,
I
I thought
make
you said
ladders.
got it. Oh, stagecraft. Well, yes. I mean, too much is given, much is expected. And I intend to be given a lot. So, yes, that sounds interesting. And I'm very good at keeping secrets, even from
Provided that
myself sometimes.
glibness does not work to your downfall.
Um, no. I think in retrospect, the only truth I've told recently that I might think twice about. Uh, well, so I told the Fathomless my name, not the one that you know, the other one. But I kind of had to at the moment because a couple of my companions' lives were on the line. So it wasn't an ill-considered choice. It's one that I somewhat regret. But I probably would have regretted it if they had been consumed by eternal darkness as well. So calculated risk.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Unfortunate, but not irreparable. Irreparable. This is me,
Yeah,
the DM, not being
it's
sure how to
fine.
pronounce that word.
He
It's
has an accent. Irreparable.
irreparable. It's that and preferable. That always
Yes.
can.
It is neither preferable nor irreparable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, uh, you can work on that. You can fix that. The
Mm,
Fathomless is not. They are boastful.
yes.
They are proud,
Yes. Oh, would
much
it?
like the fishmonger.
Yes. Well. Except it's, you know, at a different scale of existence. However, I will say I took great interest in the fact that it felt compelled to reach out to me just to be, I know your name. I can find you at any time. I was like, oh, that smacks of insecurity.
Precisely.
Interesting.
It
It has something to prove.
it does.
Yes.
It is desperate for attention.
Mm-hmm.
The Dominion has starved it for a long, long time.
Yes, well, that's how you get the inevitable tick-tock of time, isn't it? Things being out of balance.
Mm, I
And I'm not
suppose.
saying that it's not best, but someone is going to have to reconcile whatever is going on out there. But hopefully it's got another 300 or 400 years, so I don't have to deal with it. Anyway, yes, so
Anyways,
secrets, keeping secrets. Yes, I'm quite good at that.
do you agree to this deal?
Sure. Do I have to tell people that I'm a bard, though? I mean,
No.
people
No.
keep saying it in the meta, but in the actual fiction, no one knows I'm a bard because I never use that phrase.
Mm-hmm. There are a certain set of skills that I learned
Mm.
from my masters a long time ago. I can teach you the basics now,
Hmm.
provided your secrecy.
Sure.
You are familiar with the colleges of bards, being able
Yes.
to direct your influence. There is another path. It is the College of Whispers.
Oh, I think maybe. Might have heard of that. I can tell you that Glamour wanted me very, very badly, but I just wasn't interested. It just seemed over the top. It seemed too on the nose.
Roll a wisdom saving throw.
Oh dear. Not my strength. But that is a 19 on the die, which means a 19.
Which means you fail.
Oof, dear.
Out of Out of the game, you are now under the effects of words of terror, which means you are frightened of him.
But I know I'm under the effect.
I
assume.
believe so.
Okay.
If the yeah, because if you succeeded, you'd be aware. It would, sorry, you would not be aware that Andrus used this ability.
Yeah.
But because you failed, I believe you're aware that
Yeah.
yeah.
Or that's something unusual. I
So,
would say, at least narratively, Poe does not just become afraid of people.
react how Poe would.
Yes.
But mechanically, you are frightened. Andrus stands to his full height. He was like leaning on a table before. The shadows around him seem to darken. So this is your first lesson. You can control your presence. Just need a little time to lace your words with magic so they can burrow into someone's mind, lodge themselves there. It can be useful. And then the shadows lighten a little bit. It's like that scene in Lord of the Rings when Gandalf gets all scary. It's kind of like that. You're no longer afraid.
Oh. Well, I mean, well, that was, I mean, unpleasant, but
Quite. It's not pleasant using it either. It is a sympathetic form of magic. You need to be able to feel it in order to impart it.
Oh, you need to be able to feel a constant darkness.
A concept I assume you are familiar with.
Hunger for revenge and delight in, well, not suffering per se. Doom is probably a better word.
The scalpel.
Yes. Yes.
There are a couple dummies against the wall, like training dummies. They're padded. He walks over, calmly to a wooden training sword on the wall in a rack and takes it. And then with a strength and speed that surprises you, he embeds the sword into the training dummy. Like straight through. And when he did that, the sword crystallized in a way. It's like a mirage, heat on a road, midday. Kind of shimmered for a moment before snapping into place, becoming extremely sharp. And after he strikes, the sword remains there, and this crystal dissolves into thin air. That is your second lesson. You can focus your will to hone the psionic energy that everyone has. It is similar to magic, but not quite the same.
So kind of the way that I can say just the right thing and grant people a bit of fortune.
Exactly.
It's not exactly the same.
But it is a similar concept. That
Yes.
is not magic.
Yeah,
That
it's
is,
not it's not the same as making oneself invisible or conjuring fire, but it comes from the same feels.
it is your will
It feels
being.
like a huge waste of my energy every time I do it, frankly.
It will get
Um,
easier.
well, but stabbing people with
No.
being better at defending my friends is probably a better use for that. Well, than helping them catch things or whatever other nonsense that they use it for.
This this requires you to focus that inspiration, that your presence, your will on yourself. A feedback of
Yes.
sorts. Exert your will on the universe, and it will respond.
Yes. I found that to be true. Interesting. I never really considered because I know it doesn't really work. When I try to give myself that little bit of fortune, I think because I know what's happening, so it just doesn't ever seem to stick. But the ability to take advantage of it directly is
Yes.
very interesting.
Yes. Go ahead. Try. You may use a training sword or your own.
Shit. I mean, your training swords are nice, but this was personally balanced for me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the I'll waggle one of my pinkies at him. It's like the hilt's a little bit longer for obvious reasons.
Extra leverage. Clever.
Extra leverage, yes. So I'll give it a little stabby stab and then
Mm-hmm.
spend one of my bardic inspiration die to do a bit more damage.
Cool. Yeah, the crystals aren't as large. They weren't like as sharp. They barely coated the blade, while his seemed to like
Yeah.
encompass the entire thing. Um, good. You're a you're a good student, fast learner.
Mm,
I'm glad I was right.
between the two of us, I'm not that bright.
I did not say that.
I'm just cunning.
That is all that is necessary.
I think so. There's always smart people to write things down and remember things for you.
Well, we can talk more at a later time when you've had more practice with these lessons.
Yes. I have one more very important question.
Of course. Please ask.
Are you single?
I am now.
Is that a recent thing?
Recent in your time?
No, recent in your time.
No.
Ah, well, do you like girls?
Yes. Why?
Well, I have a friend who is very, I say friend. She's kind of a nightmare. But, I mean, literally, she's from the plane. She's from the plane of dreams.
He holds up a hand. I am not interested.
Oh, well. Well, if you know anyone who is upstanding and decent and tolerant and knowledgeable, my concern is that she is experiencing our world for the first time. And it is clear to me that where she came from was traumatizing. And she has some little power.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
while it is partly true that it would amuse me to no end to see her horribly, horribly fail at attempting to have normal relationship, um, not out of any maliciousness, but just because it would be hilarious. It is also true that if she is going to remain in this world, she is going to discover love and pain and longing and all the complexities of life. And if that happens by accident or with the wrong people, it could be very problematic for her and for us and for whatever weird tentacled monsters that she possibly could summon into this reality. So I'm just on the lookout for the right kind of friend for her. You know,
Mm-hmm. And you
show her
are
the.
unwilling to shoulder this burden
Oh,
yourself.
God, no.
I assumed as much.
Yet zero interest. However, um, yes. And my own personal history would suggest that, well, I mean, if you want to leave someone wanting to burn everything down, just have them date me for a week. Anyway, so if you think of someone level headed, well experienced, who would at least be willing to take someone in hand and, help them, just kind of get a sense of that this layer of reality exists and she might someday start feeling things and it's okay to explore those things, but just like without murder and tentacles and without like going off the deep end.
Mm. I'll keep my eye out.
Yes. So I'm thinking someone older and more experienced or someone extremely young and naive. Either one will work.
For now, from what you've told me, I think she just needs to experience the world more before
Probably.
getting into complications like
Possibly. She's
relationships.
very precocious. She can't take two steps without stepping into a complication.
So,
She will most likely meet some random man on the street and completely misread the situation and find herself in a harem if she's not careful.
so protect it. Protect that.
Ugh. I don't do innocence. I really, really don't.
I'm not saying you should shoulder the burden yourself. Just provide guidelines.
Mm,
Push her
yes.
in a direction instead of
Tell her
wandering aimlessly.
boy's blood is poison.
From what you've told me, she may take that literally.
Yes. Oh, I'll think about it. No, but I suppose it's good advice. Too much to hope for that someone would just be like, yeah, sure.
I will allow you one more question
Mm,
that I will
mm.
answer honestly.
Honestly, honestly, honestly. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Jeez, just the one.
Just the one. You will get more later.
Hmm. What is your prey? Your
Those who would do the city
target?
harm.
That's very abstract of you.
And yet it is the truth.
Okay. So an idealist.
I've lived here a while. This is my home.
Yes. Yes, yes. And also I find that with appropriate context, anyone could be labeled as one who would do the city harm. So flexible as well.
Mm.
Interesting. I'm a bit more absolute myself, but that's fine. Maybe I'll grow out of it.
You may need to.
Mm.
It
Or
is
I can take care of
unpleasant.
a certain situation, and then it won't matter. I can do whatever I'd like after that.
Possibly.
Oh, not one of the questions. I will draw the signet. Seen that
Interesting.
before.
Yes. A disgraced ladder climber like yourself years ago. I have not
Yes.
seen it since.
It's still around. There's an individual that calls themselves Paris, some sort of underworld figure that's
I
wearing the
am
signet as
familiar
we
with that
speak.
name. I
Wearing
did
the
not
signet
know
as we speak.
it was
I have a
connected.
I have a great interest in understanding what this disgraced ladder climber, who, by the way, not really a ladder climber, convenient to look like a ladder climber,
Mm-hmm.
suits expectations, gives opponents a sense of where the weaknesses might lie. Probably actually very disinterested with the trappings of status beyond the doors that it opened and the tongues that it loosened. But a very, very dangerous individual who, frankly, I believe, is taking advantage of the disgrace to do all sorts of potential harm to the city.
That is a direction that I did not want you to go down, whether intentionally or by accident.
Well,
There are parallels.
um, oh, I never told you where I grew up. House Varan was my home.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Varan was my guardian.
That is not
So,
surprising.
so yeah, not so much the kind of thing that's just like, oh, happened upon this. How do you think I knew what the signet was? I've seen it many times.
You showed your hand too soon in that information.
That's fine.
If I was an opponent, that would have been a blunder.
If you were an opponent that mattered, it would be because you were connected to Varan. And it would have benefited me to plant an agent of Varan with the notion that I am foolhardy.
You talk
Like I
in
said,
circles.
I am not stupid, but I'm cunning. Yes. Yes. And also, I have, if you are not, well, regardless of your thoughts about me, if you are indeed honest about your prey being those who seek to harm the city, informing you of this has gained me an ally, willing or not.
True.
So, calculated risk.
Thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
I will ask my sparrows.
Yes, and I'll let you know if I come across them in a dark alley. You'll probably find my head on a pike, but that's fine.
Try to not let it come to that.
Oh, yes.
You have more to learn.
Oh, there are many, many worse things that could happen.
Okay.
So, excellent.
Let's change the scene. It fades to
Poe
black.
forgets most of that except for the last part. It's like, haha.
Mm-hmm.
Now someone who can actually do something about it actually knows and appears to be motivated. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and stabby hard. Yes, that's
Yep.
important.
Stabby hard. But yeah,
And I do need to
congratulations.
have a quiet conversation with Astra for approximately 60 seconds.
That would be entertaining.
Just, see if tentacles pop out or something.
Mm-hmm. She rips off her skin mask, revealing a full illithid.
I knew it. Yes, anyway.
Okay. Anyways.
Super helpful.
Yeah.
Strange fellow.
Mm-hmm.
Check myself in the mirror. Okay, don't look like I was terrified a second ago. Good.
But you do kind of have a headache. That's gonna just a mild one. Probably a combination of like genuine fear, genuine terror. Like even no matter how much of a facade you put up, combined with the psionic exertion for like the first time in your life, like doing it like that, it's took a little bit of a toll.
Yeah. Holding on to it instead of letting it go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. More tea.
So
Yes.
let's fast forward. You just woke up from the morning after you picked up. I'm sorry, the morning after the auction.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't picked up the loot yet.
Yes.
You were going to do that at noon. So you have like the morning to do stuff. You.
I should go ahead.
No. What were you going to say?
No, finish.
You were going to go to Ormosa again.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yes. Especially knowing that we might already have an investor,
Mm-hmm.
but more investors is better.
Mm-hmm.
Especially more investors that are easy to take their money and then, distract them with other things quickly.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think checking in with Ormosa just to see what her ladies who lunch chatter has produced.
Okay. So you go there on your own.
Yeah.
Poe, how good of you
And
to join me.
to clarify, because I am on my own,
Mm-hmm.
none of the patter, none of the
Gotcha.
making a show with the houseboys, and I would say they are probably in on the game,
Mm.
meaning they open it and they start to adopt kind of a saucy look, and then it's clear that I'm alone, and they're just gonna go, oh, okay, well, we're not gonna go through that rigmarole.
Gotcha. Okay.
So walk in, and yes, of course, Armosa is still very effusive, but even that is just, I mean, we all know it's for show. But
Of course.
she'd put on a show in a room by herself if she could
She
get away with
enjoys
it.
it.
So, yeah. She admires her own performance, even if there's not an audience.
Mm-hmm. Poe, how good of you to join me.
Yes. Well, I'm highly motivated.
I asked around, like you said.
Yes.
I got a mixed response. Not many people want to invest in foolhardy. The Crescent carries weight, and it scares money off.
It's a horrible, horrible place. Yes.
Mm-hmm. But while I haven't turned up any investors, I have a name for you.
Mm.
Theodon Barrow. He's originally from Vuisha. He seeks to prove himself. And she seems amused by this. He had been asking around for a very specific thing. He's not a miner, but he does know his stuff around a mine. So maybe if you talk to him, he might be able to help you get started.
What specific thing was he asking about?
He seeks an opportunity to get into the business. He seems very eager.
To be a tradesman?
Unfortunately.
Is he connected?
Not that I could tell.
So he just has money and wants to be a tradesman.
Just has money. Has no connections in town. It's fairly recent. And he just wants to throw it at people.
How did you come across him?
A friend of a friend. We don't tell.
Oh, well, drop that friend if they're socializing with tradesmen. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with the trades. We'd all be naked and standing in the rain if it weren't for them. But
Mm-hmm.
so this Theodon, I assume he's hanging around in some unsuitable.
I'm sure you could ask around. He's kind of made a name for himself.
Oh, why do I feel like there's another shoe to drop? You don't make a name for yourself by just going around saying, "Hey, I like mining. I would like to get into mining." There's got to be something else.
After the first couple rejections, he seems to have gotten more boisterous. He's put up flyers. Isn't it quaint?
Well, I mean, it's someone no one will miss, which is always in case things get weird. That's always an advantage. So just go around and say, "That's the strangest thing I've ever heard." I mean, it might even be amusing.
I certainly think so.
There's so many better ways to. There's so many better ways to make money than to have a mine. I mean, I halfway considering this thing is much more trouble than it's worth. I mean, if I can set it up to generate just ongoing revenue without having to do anything or think about it in any way, why not? There's no shame in.
If you had to ask me, I'd think he has a dwarf fetish. It's ridiculous.
Oh no!
But that's
But
just
you mean like
that's just
thinks he's a
hearsay.
dwarf,
That's just hearsay.
or do you mean like wants to have a mine because he thinks that's gonna get him a dwarf?
Who can tell?
Oh, wow, ew.
But it seems to be exactly what you're looking for.
Why is it that it seems like either every drawing room in the city is filled to the brim with perverts, or you are some sort of magnet for them?
You flatter me.
I know it's an observation of fact. Every time I meet you, you run into some new, strange deviant. Well, I mean,
Can you wait, what's the word? What's the word? Pause. My brain's doing that thing where I know there's a word for it, but I don't know the word for it. Um can you blame me? I find it fascinating in a morbid kind of way.
yes, well, just always make sure that you're at least trying to hang out with the proper class of deviants.
Oh, of course.
All right.
I hear these things through the grapevine, of course. I don't directly engage. That would be horrible.
Yes, it's just I think maybe it's because
Perish the thought.
everyone just longs for the day that they can shock you.
Hmm.
But they don't know you like I do.
They will need to wait.
Yes, exactly. Well, I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Um, hmm, hmm. Do be careful though.
Always. And likewise, my dear.
Well, no, but seriously.
She drops the act just for a moment.
Yeah.
What is it?
I was reminded the other day of our good friend and my benefactor.
You're certain?
Yes. Just a vague recollection, a moment of deja vu, you might say, has put me in the mood to just be cautious. Well, it hasn't put me in the mood to be cautious. It's put me in the mood to be reckless. But it's put me in the mood to let other people know that they should be cautious, careful.
It is appreciated.
Yes.
I'd hoped that
Anyway,
chapter was behind us.
no, I never did. But you know that.
Mm.
So, could all just be in my imagination. But I'm not very imaginative, so it probably isn't.
Thank you for stopping by. I do
Of
miss
course.
our little talks.
Of course. Well, things are very strange. I'm sure I'll have more odd things and potentially even more odd people to introduce you to next time.
I cannot wait.
And I'm doing my best to corrupt them, so sooner or later they'll
That's my
stop being
Poe.
so. Yeah, of course it is. Well, ta-ta.
She
And
nods.
just
Yeah.
trips it out. And I suppose I'll have to go just before heading back. I will have to go and find a flyer. And I know what it's going to look like. It's going to have some artist commissioned portrait, probably of a human man who has an unnecessarily full beard braids, just total cultural appropriation. And it's going to be it's like the world's cringiest LinkedIn page.
Yep. 100%. Yeah.
And just,
Mm-hmm. And it's not a particularly good beard either. It's patchy, but he's grown it out to a length that would allow braids.
and the fact that the artist didn't just give him a lovely full beard, but let on that it was maybe not the best is super indicative of the kind of impression that he gives.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, I know everything I ever wanted to know about this person already.
Mm-hmm.
However, people's goals / prey, if you want to use a really weird turn of phrase, I'm going to have to unpack, is useful to understand and makes them subject to manipulation. So it's good that I know what this person wants. And it's also very good that we don't have a female dwarf in our party. So,
Yes. Or male dwarf, for that matter.
well, who knows?
Yeah.
So, yes, we should probably go. Oh God. Do I have to have a conversation with this person? I suppose I can't just send them a letter.
You could, but it might take some time for a response.
Yes.
And you
And
don't know if he'd be like thrown in jail for public indecency by then. So like,
thinking he can drink like a dwarf. Yes, of course. It just, oh God. I swear, if I find him in a bar and he has a pickaxe or something with him, I don't know. I'll get to practice that 1 minute conversation freak you out power right away.
yep.
Oh
Yep.
my God. Beer stein with weird Celtic knotwork on it unnecessarily.
Mhm.
Yo, gee, I know this person.
Um,
God.
Also, a little bit of background information about the setting. Vuisha is like Mediterranean France. It's kind of like if Paris was on the coast. It's considered like high class generally. Adelle's parents are from there. It's like,
I mean, you'd never know it, but yeah.
yeah, you'd never know it, but like it's a very classy, very cultured place.
Yes. Or at least that's the external. I mean, everywhere you go with people in it, there's going to be a lot of, you know,
Yeah.
but I mean, look at Nice.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's lovely, but it's full of gangsters. That's basically the primary output of Nice is gangsters.
Go a little bit further west, and yeah, you'll have a pirate problem.
Yeah.
Well, when you guys first came back to the city. One of the criers was pirate attacks become more brazen on the Vuitian coast. So,
Yep.
like, they do have a pirate problem.
Yep.
Um,
And I can guess who funds some of that stuff. And it's probably not people living in a cave. But anyway, this person, yes, that's additional insight. This person comes from a relatively cultured society and has decided what they want to do with their life is to be a faux dwarf.
exactly.
Wow. So I think I have to drag him down at least to get a sense of if
Mm-hmm.
he's pliable
Yeah.
before taking him, but before taking the news that in addition to potential seed investment, we might have an employee that can help get the thing up and running.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I don't want to do is bring him back to the tavern with me and have him be completely unmanageable. Or let him know anything about us, our names, where we live,
Oh,
because
yeah.
this is likely the type of person who will just show up.
Yeah, probably. Like an interview process might be worthwhile. Um, maybe. That's up to
Yes.
you. This is the first name that came across your radar. It does not have to be the last. Um,
But given its source,
given
I would
its
be
source.
remiss not to check it out.
Exactly.
And uh, it's probably one of Ormosa's little tricks, which is fine. I'm fine with that. My exasperation gives her great pleasure.
A bit.
So if nothing else, the look on my face the next time we meet and her delight at my dramatic retelling of this individual's
Mm-hmm.
degeneracy will be worth the price of an afternoon or an hour.
Yep. Yeah, it's like still like
Yeah.
mid-morning, so
Oh yeah, visits to Hermosa are usually like
short.
15 minutes short. Otherwise, we have to start talking about real things, and that always gets very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you Ormosa gave you kind of an idea of where to start looking.
Yes.
Like where she's heard that the flyers had been posted. So you go to that section of town, and sure enough, almost on every corner, there is a little pamphlet of this human, distinctively human, a very Roman nose, like plucked eyebrows, but this patchy, braided, knotted beard that has beads in it, and like Theodon Barrow. Uh, uh, what's the exact phrasing that he would use? Your 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 next best choice.
Right. Probably doesn't get the double
Mm-hmm.
entendre there.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Got it. Oh God. Okay. And I'm sure. Okay. The player suspects that that is not his name because it is stylistically more of what would expect of a dwarf. So
Possibly.
yes, just to confirm that the character would have the same assumption as the player.
It's possible.
There aren't that many children of Vuitian aristocratic families named Theodon Barrow.
Possibly. It
Yeah.
could be shortened from
Right.
like an actual last name to make it more dwarfy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but it's all part of the presentation. Oh God. All right. All right. Well, um, before setting out, I would
Mhm.
have dressed in mm, elegant black. So mysterious.
Okay.
A little bit more businessy. So put on a jacket.
Nice. Nice. Um,
Mm.
yeah, you on the flyers it's listed where he's staying. So you go to this tavern. It's the wait where I the Murky Puddle. Yeah, it's not in the best section of town. It's not in the worst either. Um, and like you you go up to bartender, then ask.
I would just ask me what I want. I would just say, I need to find a man who calls himself Theodon Barrow
At what
with
about?
with
He's
the beard.
upstairs. He's upstairs. I'll get him for you. And like, he he does not go towards the stairs. He goes towards the closet, opens the closet, gets a broom, walks towards a section of the thing, and just hits it on the ceiling 3 or 4 times hard. A couple of the patrons look around and then just go back to their drink. It is still mid-morning, and there's more than a couple people in here, absolutely drunk.
Of course.
And then this
Charming. Do you have tea by any chance?
No. I have breakfast beer.
No, thank you.
Right. Water.
No.
Okay.
I'm just gonna look around.
Yeah.
Look at the kind of the quality of the cloth that he has used to polish the bar, and just go, no.
Smart. Moments later, stumbling down the stairs is a obviously hungover human with braided beard. What is it? What time is it?
It's business time, Mr. Barrow.
Right. Who are you?
Your prospective employer. Have a seat.
Oh, okay, sure. Can I a beer, please?
Actually, that probably will actually make things.
Hair of the dog.
I won't object. Oh
God. So like he gets a mug of breakfast ale, downs it all at once, lets out a hearty belch, and like sits back in his chair, thinks about putting his feet up, but thinks better of it. He's going to be professional. I'm Theodon Barrow. How can I help you?
Well,
Mr.
Just call me Poe.
Poe.
Yes. You don't even you can dispense with the Mister. Well,
Poe.
You have made quite a name of yourself here in town, Mr. Barrow. You've caught many people's attention. Luckily enough, you caught one of my connection's attention, and it's possible that your interests and mine align.
When do I start?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I'm sorry. Got ahead of myself.
Yes, you clearly did.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've recently come into possession of a copper mine, out of the Crescent.
Oh.
It's not something that I have any particular interest in learning how to.
He belches again, mid-sentence. Pardon me. You were saying?
Yes. Mine. Crescent.
Mm-hmm. No problem. Yeah, mine's a mine.
Copper.
Yep.
A mine is most assuredly not a mine. What you are mining is important.
You just dig holes.
I'm not particularly well educated in mining, but I know that different metals have different ores, and different ores have different characteristics, and therefore different tools are needed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're probably not mining native copper. It's probably some sort of sort of ore that you'll need to refine later. Do you know if you're refining it on site or shipping it to town to a refinery?
I think that is the kind of question that I would expect my foreman to ask and advise upon,
Perfect. I happen to
because it's
know
not something
a
I care
guy.
about.
Yeah.
I only care about the end result, which is money. And honestly, I don't even care about money that much. I just care about the
Mm.
things that money buys.
Mm.
So,
Wow.
looking for someone who has a natural talent and some experience in managing a mine.
Well, I happen to know quite a few things about mining and managing
And how did you
managing
come by that
mines.
knowledge?
Uh, I learned it.
On the coast of Wisha.
Maybe.
Are you
Look,
mining for
it doesn't matter.
seashells?
It doesn't matter where I learned it. It's
It does to me.
okay. Look, it's a theoretical knowledge. I went to school for communications. We minored in management, business management. Um, but I assure you, I earned top marks in my class. Can I get another beer?
Actually, you might want to slow down on
Thank you.
that. Let that one kick in.
Yeah.
So, what you're saying is you have no direct experience in managing a mine.
Well, I've well, not exactly, but
Which
I
means you'll
have.
be cheap.
I am affordable, not cheap.
Are you? Hmm. Are you also brave,
Mm,
hearty? Are you stout-hearted?
yes, of course.
Yes, you would be, wouldn't you? I'd heard that about you.
Mm,
That although perhaps you lack in social graces, because you do, you seemed like a stout-hearted fellow, salt of the earth, even.
mm. You could say that. Yeah.
Almost like you have a sense, like the rock speaks to you.
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't have said
Yes,
it better myself.
yes,
Always felt at
yes,
home with
yes,
rocks.
yes.
Yeah.
Someone said that you felt like it was your calling from birth.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
So I can see why you'd want to be in the mountains. How do you feel about goblins?
Nah, I never met a goblin I couldn't handle.
Which means you've never met a goblin,
What's
which
a
is
goblin?
fine. That's a goblin. Wow. They're the enemy of all good and true miners, aren't they?
Well, then that I can't have that.
Yes, yes. Well, there might be a few stray goblins running around in the depths of the mine.
Is it too bright in here, or is it just me?
It's just you and my smile.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh man.
He hiccups.
Yes. Well,
But yeah, I can definitely help. How big of a mine is it? Are we talking like multiple generations of work here, or like
it's been in operation for years and years and years.
using
It
your
has been held in a family through multiple generations and has recently passed to me due to malfeasance on the part of the previous steward.
I don't. I'm not great on that legal stuff. I'll leave that to you.
Everyone there was murdered by goblins.
Though you mentioned
Yeah,
goblins. Yeah.
yes. But
Yeah.
it does have a lovely native and thriving population of fire beetles.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, they're
Perfect.
very, very nice.
Yeah, you gotta keep them fed, but they do good.
What did they eat again?
Wood,
Ah, that's right.
timber,
Yes,
preferably deciduous wood. They don't really
yes.
like the whole sap. The conifer sap is not.
I can imagine it would be a little bit
Yeah, it
chewy or
changes the
spicy or something.
glow.
Hmm.
You know, too much lignin in their diet makes the glow
Hmm.
less. Mm.
Interesting. Interesting. Anyway, no, it's aside from the big hole in the perimeter wall, and the kind of greasy spot where we had to burn all the bodies, it appears to be relatively intact.
Hmm.
And then there's a place where they broke through into the. Oh yes, the previous manager wasn't listening to the miners when they said that they kept hearing weird sounds, and he just
Hmm.
kept saying deeper, deeper. And then they broke into a large chamber where there were a bunch of goblins that came out and killed them.
I assume that he never actually went into the mine.
Oh God, no.
Now that's terrible. Can't be a manager if you don't actually know the work.
Yes, you have to lead from the front.
Of course.
The other thing that I think we would highly value is discretion.
Sir, I am nothing if not discreet. It's my middle name.
I can tell that about you.
Discreet Barrow.
Yes, I can tell that about you. But you know how minds are. Sometimes dig deep enough and you find things that you don't expect.
Yeah. Don't
So,
go too deep or too greedily. It's an old
or
saying.
or if you find anything unusual, you shut your trap and communicate it with your employers.
Now, was
who can evaluate.
this hole repaired yet, or is that on the to-do list?
That's part of the problems that need to be solved.
Okay, so barricade the hole from the mine to the cavern where the goblins.
Green.
Are they goblins or
Goblins.
goblins?
Oh, it's 2 syllables. Green.
Goblin.
Hideous.
Cool. Got you.
Like to capture people and then turn them into more goblins.
Yeah, you can't have that. Can't have that.
Yep. So,
yeah.
Why don't you make a note to yourself so you don't forget when you sober up?
Oh, I'm still trapped.
I'm sure. Anyway, we'll test that theory. Why don't you work up a proposal for what it would take to take a well-established mine, all buildings intact. I mean, there's a wagon that needs some repair, but I'm assuming that can be handled. All the buildings intact, minor repair needed on the protective palisade, a little bit of blocking up of a particular hole, intact colony of beetles, etc. What would it take in terms of personnel and material to begin to be productive? Write that up.
How many people?
That's what I'm asking you.
No. You see, the infrastructure needs to be in place first. Like if you said there's the building already intact, like if I hire 400 miners, would it hold?
It was being operated by approximately 30 folks prior, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
And that includes like a cook and other various and sundry.
Right.
It seemed like it was I have to assume that if it was productive enough to have caught the eye of the magistrates, that it is a reasonably productive mine to be able to extract that much ore with relatively few people.
Well,
am I boring you?
No. It's really early. Not used to this. Well, you say that the buildings are still in place, and there is an outer wall that needs repair.
Barracks, storehouse, foreman's home / office, palisade wall.
Okay.
That the beetles apparently chewed through after everyone died to go out in the woods and get some more stuff.
Gotcha. So, well, you can't just send people there. They need to have infrastructure with them. You need to make sure things are up to code. You need to make sure that they have enough supplies with them for the initial trek to be setting up. It is my recommendation that We don't start out with 30.
Right.
Maybe a couple dozen, 2 dozen, dozen and a half, baker's dozen and a half. Sure. Uh, he actually sobers up for a moment and just looks off into space for a bit. I could probably secure enough workers. Would you be wanting guards?
Well, I think that is part of your proposal. I mean, it's how
Okay.
confident do you feel that mine workers can fend off goblins?
Oh, not at all. They need guards.
Yes.
So, like, minimum
I would
2,
suggest
I
I
would
would
say.
suggest guards that can double as hunters. It surprises me that it should be a self-sufficient settlement to the extent that it can be.
Oh, you need to build that up. It sounds like you just have a standard mine. Then supplies would need to be carted in after
Yeah.
every shipment out. Because there's no farms supporting it. There's no infrastructure. It's not a town. It's a mine.
Yes, but just think about 30 is a village. Villages are
Sure,
self-sufficient all the time.
sure.
It seems inefficient. It seems like a logistical weak point.
But that
If the
infrastructure is not in place yet. So it would,
Yes,
if you
that should
wanted
be
it
an
in.
objective.
Okay, well, one step at a time. Because it's every step costs more money. You see. So if you just want it up and running, bare minimum, probably around 7,000 gold.
Hmm.
And then,
And
I'm sorry, what was that?
and that's your estimate to get it up and running and self-sustaining in terms of its material needs.
No, no, no. That is the initial cost. Um, it, and then there would be a recurring cost. You need to pay the workers and miners and all of that.
But that would then be out of the proceeds of the mine, correct?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But you do
That's
need
what I
to
mean.
pay them up
Up and
front
running
first.
up and running and productive enough to be able to pay for its own operating expenses.
Hmm. Okay, so not farms.
Well, if you're the expert.
I would need to go
However,
there first to actually see it, to actually see what we're working with. But you,
yes.
from your description,
Let's consider making it more self-sustaining a potential objective, depending upon how productive the mine is and
for
what is
sure,
required to get it up and running.
for sure.
But long term, it seems like it would be a much more livable arrangement for the workers if they had if there was more of a family feel, more of a village feel.
Eventually, we can absolutely work towards that.
Yes. It
Yeah.
also seems like it would be more profitable because just the cartage cost of moving
Hmm.
food back and forth seems like an unnecessary expense.
Hmm. Generally, with this kind of stuff, well, you mentioned a wagon.
Yes.
How damaged is it? Because
Well,
it might be cheaper to just use that as scrap and buy a pre-made cart.
oh, my guess is all the wheels were missing. I suspect because the beetles ate them. And I think that's probably the most expensive part of a wagon, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
the rest of it's just planks.
yeah. So we get a new cart to start with, until production ramps up, and then we can make a wagon. Um, and that would be included in the initial startup cost. You'd also need horse
Of course.
for a cart. Um,
I really am not interested in the nitty-gritty details at all. Just so we're clear.
okay. Well, for let's say 20 workers and 4 guards. Let me do some quick math. 20 plus 4, 45. That, including my pay, that would be 150 gold a month, just for payment of the workers and guards.
That's not that much at all.
It's, I mean, a worker earning 5 gold a month is a lot.
I know. I was just expecting more.
Wait,
I don't know why doesn't everyone own a mine then?
most of the cost is preparing the site, scouting it out, making new maps. You don't know what tunnels have changed. You need to survey it. You need to make sure that you don't want to know these details. That's what you're hiring me for.
Yes. And safety is important.
Right. So 20 workers, 4 guards.
150 gold per month plus an initial setup.
Plus included in the 6,000 gold quote.
Okay. And how many months worth is that? Is that just for 1 month?
That's just the 1 month. But the initial cost of 6,000 is just for the initial.
Got it.
He seems to be waking up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thinking. So I just need you to write all that up into a proposal.
Of course.
Think of it like a Shark Tank.
I think you'll find that these rates are
going to present it to us, and if we don't like what you say, we'll throw you in a Shark Tank. I'm just kidding. We're all very, very nice.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to do business with you. Looking forward to it.
How long will it take you to write up?
Should be good by tomorrow.
Okay.
Assuming, of course, that the details of the description of the mine that you told me about was accurate, and there's not more damage there than you said, and blah, yada, yada. You get it.
Yes, of course.
The price could fluctuate depending.
The only thing I'm concerned about is that the wooden struts might have been gnawed upon, but the beetles seem to be smart enough to go out into the woods. Maybe the struts were coniferous. Who knows? Anyway, I am so bored of this conversation, but have a proposal ready. Be sober. Be showered. I will bring my. I will bring my compatriots, and they will interview you.
Perfect. Can't wait.
Word of warning. One of them is a priestess of the Tempest. One of them is a knight of the guard. One of them is a strange dream creature with a tentacle obsession. And one of them some sort of monk or something. I still am not entirely clear on what he is. Anyway, it's an odd group.
Any dwarves?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
When I first saw you, I thought, no, he's too tall. But you have a certain kind of dwarf feel to you.
Well, my great-grandfather was a dwarf, or so I'm told.
Oh, interesting.
Carrying on the family business, as it were.
Well, that's a very noble aspiration. You honor your great-grandfather.
Never met the man.
Yes, but I'm sure you want to do him proud.
Of course.
Make a name for yourself.
Of course. Yeah.
I am certainly very happy to help you in that endeavor.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you screw with me, well, there's lots of deep holes in mines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They can get
Okay.
quite deep.
It can get very, very dangerous.
Yep. Gotta be careful.
Yes. So, showered, sober,
Mm.
well-written proposal,
Yeah.
prepared to be interviewed by some very, very odd people.
Sure.
And you'll be polite and businesslike, and you'll win them over.
Always. Yeah.
Excellent. Just like your great-granddad would have done.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, I'd say it was a pleasure to meet you. Goodbye.
Pleasure.
And then walk out and air out my clothes so I don't smell like tavern and human who thinks he's a dwarf anymore. Do a little spritz walk through, just so I don't
And
offend.
then you meet up with the rest of the party
Yes.
as they're going to the exchange.
Yes.
At noon.
So the patter on the way to the exchange is the things I do for you people, the places I go, the depths to which I lower myself.
Yeah.
All for you.
Are you satisfied with that? Do you want to touch on anything else that Poe would want? Is there any like investigation you want to do alone that we could slot in sometime?
The only other thing I thought about doing was, well, to visit Paris.
What was that?
To visit Paris.
Hmm.
But I think instead Poe makes it a point to walk by Paris's.
Okay.
Not in a I'm thinking of going in and I changed my mind, because he's already made up his mind. He's not going to make contact. I think he has. If it were just him, he absolutely would. But he doesn't want to compromise Lena. But he can't resist poking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he will. We probably cinematically, I think we'll see a scene of him just nonchalantly strolling down the street that just happens to be right where that guy is, and then just at just the right moment, kind of looking up at just the right window and kind of winking,
Mm-hmm.
and then moving along.
Yeah.
Little spring in his step.
You notice there's someone just leaning against a building across the street, just watching.
Have
No
a
response.
pleasant day.
But yeah, it's.
I'm just being friendly.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yes.
I think that was a good session. I think that's a good place to end it.
Look, why couldn't I have gotten illithids? This dwarf guy is like 1,000 times worse.
You know, you gotta play to the player's strengths. You know.
At least he didn't have a deep V. If he'd also had a deep V, it would have been the end. It would have been the end.
Completely forgot to mention that. Yeah.
Jeez. So he's basically cosplaying Varric from Mass Effect. From Dragon Age.
Kind of, except the beard's longer.
Oh God. Wow. That is someone's backstory I want to know zero of.
Well, hopefully you won't really learn much, because he'll be busy doing the mind stuff while all of you are doing interesting things.
Yes, and if he gets eaten by goblins, it won't be a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh God, how can I make Astra seem like a dwarf?
She's like 6 foot something, I think.
Yes, but that would be just evil of me. I might have to change my alignment.
it would
But
definitely require an alignment change.
but there's something there. I can just see them being so happy together. She just needs to grow a beard.
Built of dwarven kind.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Yeah, we can make it happen. That's the forget the we don't need the ring to help Elena with her disease anymore, so we can just find a belt of dwarven kind to uh yes. Oh well, no. Not
Mm-hmm.
not until things go terribly wrong for me and I go evil.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yay, money.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I'll share the specifics of the write up
Yep.
in the Discord with all of
Yep.
you.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, but before we go, ideals, bonds, and flaws.
Mm, complimenting as a tool. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and looking for leverage points. Um, I think the whole "you can't fool me" continues to come up, but I was particularly proud. I hope that my new friend um, thinks for a moment of, or is maybe a little bit, it maybe has a second thought about the whole revealing the signet and like, oh yeah, oh well, you shouldn't have told me. That gives me leverage over you. It's like, does it though, or does it give me leverage over you?
That was more like that was intended. It might be a fault of my own, but that was intended to be more like you monologued for too long and played too many cards out of your hand before seeing the opponent react. Um, that was the intent of
No,
that
I
response.
got it. That it was not a threat. It was a critique.
Yeah.
And while accurate, I hope that I personally was proud because it was in my head
Mm-hmm.
in deciding whether to mention it was if he has told the truth and his true motivation is to protect the city from those that would do it harm, regardless of whether this pans out, I can create an asset
Yep.
that isn't tied to loyalty to me, that my behavior and compliance is completely unimportant, but I put the word in the right ear
Mm-hmm.
for almost no effort. And that, I hope, upon reflection, is a good example of a potentially different way, but an effective way of doing some of the same stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Because in reality, if he was telling the truth, he is going to keep an eye out,
Mm-hmm.
which is good.
Mm-hmm. Also, one of your bonds, you owe everything to
Mm,
your mentor.
yes, I do.
I
And
think
I'm
is
going
the
to kill
first,
them for it.
and combine that with your ideal of never telling the whole truth. Um, you revealing to Andrus that your upbringing. Um, I think that counts as another point. Because
Because
that.
those two were in opposition, but
Mm-hmm.
the goal is more important than the
Yeah. Exactly.
momentary value. Yeah.
Cool. So I think that's 2 points worth in total. Um, I mean, the entire episode was focused on you, but yeah, 2 more points. Uh,
Excellent.
your goal of becoming more influential, so you can force the mentor out of hiding. Absolutely, you
Yeah.
progressed that. Absolutely. Um,
I think it's ultimately the whole, all of it is about that at
yeah.
this point.
Yep.
Although I think just as commentary where my head is at, um, Poe might start to think about like what happens if that goal is achieved. not like what happens if there's a showdown or some sort of reconciliation
Mm-hmm.
of some form, and it doesn't end with Poe dead or worse.
What happens if the dog catches the bus
Right, right.
that is chasing
Basically.
after? Yeah.
But not in the sense of like, oh, now I have the bus I want to, but more like, okay, I've achieved that.
Yep.
Like, what else is there? And it's like copper mining, killing monsters for money. No, that all sounds. So I think it will take him. I think where his head is at is, does the College of Whispers offer something beyond a means to an end?
Mm-hmm.
Particularly if not that he feels that the end is anywhere near in
Yeah.
sight or even likely to occur, but he's starting to think it's like, oh, is there something past that? Which I think is potentially his evolution to, is there anything of value other than that?
Cool.
Right now, no, but maybe in future.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Yeah. So, one final question.
Yes.
Did we learn something new or important about the world?
Well, we learned about that dude that wants to be a dwarf so bad he can taste it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that's new. It's not important. I mean, we learned obviously about the whole like whispers thing and the psychic powers, and so yeah, I mean, yes, um, but um, I think Poe learned that Andrus is an idealist,
Mm-hmm.
and that is probably a more potent tool than being able to channel a little bit of extra psychic energy into a rapier.
Possibly. Yeah.
So, because idealists are my favorite people.
Well, good. I like Andrus too.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, any like final comments about this episode, like table talk wise?
uh,
Any like, what was your favorite part? What was your least favorite part? What do you want to see more of?
I think what will be interesting. Yeah, I don't know if it's so total writers' room conversation, not
Absolutely.
from the character perspective at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
I think what will be interesting is if Poe has some, it kind of in the vein of the whole like one track mind,
Mm-hmm.
uh, one track mind, but lots of different layers and schemes, but all kind of point at the same thing. But if Poe had something that he cared about, not to say he doesn't care about his companions, but I think they are in a compartment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they are safe in a way that other people aren't. Um, so I think I think he doesn't have, like, he's perfectly fine like liking them and hanging out with
Mm-hmm.
them, and we have each other's back and stuff like that. But he's not passionate about them. He's passionate about revenge
Yep. Yep.
and justice, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
If there was something else that he found that he was passionate about, and that would create tension
Mm-hmm.
with this other passion, I think that would be an interesting, it would create interesting evolution for him of having to, particularly if it was I have to choose between passions. Because right now, all of his choices are super easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's don't get your friends killed, don't let them get you killed, which is frankly much more frequent occurrence,
Yeah.
and advance the goal. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy.
Yeah.
But if he had something else that he cared about,
It it will get complicated.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and even his main objective will get complicated, but um, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Cool.
not. Yeah, but I think what I'm saying is it's less about it's that dramatic or character tension
Mm-hmm.
between two directions and two competing passions. That I think it'd be interesting to explore with him.
Do you have any ideas
I'm
about that other direction, or do you not want to say that on, like, on
no,
stream?
I'm happy to talk about it. I think he is. There's a lot of different ways that it could show up, but the thing that he hasn't had and would say that he has no interest in is a sense of connection. And I don't think that comes from within the party because he has a defined connection with them.
Mm-hmm.
He has a role to play, and again, they're safe in a way.
Yeah.
They don't really challenge him
Sure.
um, because they're supposed to be working together, right? I think whether it was a person or a organization or an ideal or an entity or whatever, but could something that he would want to reveal himself to.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, something, someone, some ideal, something,
Yeah.
but something that he would want to actually look inside for once.
Mm-hmm.
Because for someone as vain as he is, I wasn't lying when he said that he doesn't think about himself at all.
Yep.
Because that's way too much like introspection and
Sure.
analysis. He doesn't do any of that. So something that would cause him to want to know himself better would be. It's not going to be the Church of the Tempest for sure.
Okay.
But it could be,
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
could be all sorts of things.
We'll see.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Awesome.
or you can just continue to be shallow. I'm fine with that.
I mean, that's possible too.
Yeah.
Or you could fall madly in love with Theodon Barrow.
No.
Okay. Anyways,
Poe can't grow a beard. Sorry.
where can people find you?
Yes, you can find me up there, 0 to 0 daylight on the Twitter. You can find me at twitch.com/C plus content on various nights a week, running various different game systems for various different people, Duck being one of them.
What?
And it's coming up soon. And you can find a lot of like hours and hours and hours of content on youtube.com/C plus content. Where we have all the episodes of our long-running D&D campaign and all of our one-shots and short series in systems ranging from Powered by the Apocalypse to Modern Age to 10 Candles. So kind of a smorgasbord of various different smaller, less well-known systems. And it's good fun. It's at least C+ content. So give it a check out.
Awesome. Well, very happy that we had this.
Yeah, I think it's a good. I
focus.
think it's a good idea. It's good to think about these things.
Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome.
Plus, it also gives a little bit more depth to backstory.
Yeah.
That usually wouldn't come up with everyone else around. But yeah, I'll see everyone soon, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
Further focuses to be determined.
Excellent. Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.